And I guess in recruiting, we're doing 3 or 4 Zooms a week at least in that, and we'll probably continue to do that until we're allowed to actually leave campus. With that, I'd be more than glad to open it up to questions.
Steve, you mentioned the multi-team event, but I just wonder like what you think the non-conference might look like for you guys. So I know there's still probably a lot to figure out, and kind of what you're maybe wanting to do with the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of really truthfully, we're waiting on the ACC to announce our schedule. And once we get that announced, then I think we can put it all together. I feel pretty confident that we have, the schedule done for the non-conference, but we want to announce it in total package. And so we're really just kind of waiting to see where the ACC, what they come up with. And I think that should be very, very soon would be my guess. But I feel confident that we will have 7, as long as we can pass protocol and keep everybody healthy, that we can play 7 non-league games, before we play the 20 ACC games.
Coach, I got 2 things real quick. First with Isaiah, how would you describe his role on this team given his contributions the last couple seasons?
Well, you talking about Mucius? Yeah, I got a lot of Isaiahs and Ishes, and I get messed up with names real fast. So, Zay, he's a leader. He's a true leader on and off the court, and he's the most he has the best communication skills on the team, and that's really important to me. And so I've found that he can play both ends of the court. He's he can be a really good defender. Because he communicates well and he's usually in the right spots. Defensively or offensively, he can play on a wing, or he can play the small forward position, whatever that means. We usually play 4 guards around 1 big, or however we're going to do it. And so he's got a lot of ways he can be effective on offense, as far as he's got length to go down there and take advantage of a mismatch. And he can also shoot the 3. His shooting percentages are way up from last year. Now he's got to carry it over to the games, but I challenged him when the first time I ever spoke to him, was that your shooting percentages are not acceptable for being the player that you want to be. And I know what he wants to be. And so he's worked really hard at it. And he's our most consistent player right now.
In some circumstances, could he also be the 1 big, considering how often he played kind of a stretch 4 last year?
Well, offensively, no. We're going to spread it and play offensively, but defensively, yes. I think that he's got the toughness and the wherewithal to get down there and defend if he needs to, and that's not ideal. But there will be times that'll happen, but it also means at times we'll have to monster the post. And what I mean by monster the post is we'll have to double the post. And we can do that with a guard, or we can do that with a big. It just depends on the way we want to play. And we'll have to help him and Ishmael Masood down in there. So I'm playing that way. But when you put Ish and Zay and then 3 guards out there, it's pretty tough group of guys to guard on the offensive end, because they can all shoot it. And they all have skill, and all 5 of them can make threes. And if you ask me what drives me more crazy than anything as a coach, is guarding a 5-man that can make threes. It's hard. And so it really opens up the court. And so that's the way we're looking to play a little bit right now, especially with Odie being down.
Steve, is there any indication yet what the format will be like for the ACC schedule? How many games it will be? I'm surely we're looking at 20. And then when that sucker's going to be released?
Listen, I don't know. I just know what really. I know it's 20 games, and so that's kind of the way. As far as the format and when and where, I'm not sure. I know they're trying. We're working hard to try to have an ACC game before Christmas. Now, what day that is, I'm not 100% yet. And then when we get started after Christmas is I don't know. It could be the 29th, it could be the 30th. I don't know. It hasn't been laid out yet. And so,
You've seen what some conferences have done in terms of scheduling games together in one site. You don't believe there's any talk of doing things like that in the ACC?
I mean, I would never say never, but I'm not aware of that happening right now. We can always adjust, I'm sure, if we need to, just to make it to where, like Coach, Kay said a long time ago, this is not going to be a regular season. And I think he's really spot on about that. And so, I think we'll have to be able to adjust, like football's had to adjust. I mean, it's not been laid out perfectly for them either. And I think we're going to be in the same boat, and we play more games, and so we're going to have to be, we're going to have to learn to adjust, and so I think probably a lot of things are on the table, but right now it's not something that that we're trying to do.
Steve, I guess going off of, you mentioned the team going through the game day simulation. I guess as far as just team excitement, how much are they looking forward to that? But two, do you kind of know what starting five looks like? Does that kind of get you there, going through this first simulation like this, and just where do you go with that?
I mean, I'm working towards it, Ethan. There's probably three groups of five that I've been looking at maybe for the last week. Now when especially it's changed with OD being out of there, it's probably gotten a little bit smaller, and the offense has changed. I mean, one of the things you're going to find about me, I am not afraid to change, offensively, we got a lot of stuff in, guys. I mean, we got probably 60, 70 play sets in, plus, breakdown offense. And so we can play a lot of different ways, depending on who we're playing against, and that changes a lot in the non-conference, because sometimes you see some non-traditional teams too. Right. And the other thing, we've spent a lot of time working against man, and in the next 3 weeks, we're going to have to work against some zone, because it never fails every year. I've spent all this time, because we play man defense, and then all of a sudden we get to the non-conference and people are playing zone, and you got to be prepared for that too. So yeah, this will give me a chance and puts it on film too, to see how we play, how these certain combinations are playing together, and how are they executing, and how are they rebounding, how are they defending, and so I think it just gives us more information as we get closer to the season on who and when, who's going to start. But really, who starts, it's really who finishes, and the amount of minutes that you play during the game, especially in COVID. I mean, who's going to be cheering for the starting lineup? I mean, just you guys. I mean, it's not like, it's going to be full house in there.
Steve, without talking about the specific who's and the wheres when it comes to non-conference scheduling, take us behind the curtain. How would you best describe and characterize what it's been like trying to piece together a non-conference schedule during COVID?
Well, I give all the credit to Frank Davis. I mean, honest truth is I haven't done anything but tell Frank to do it. And he's the best, and he's always been the best at it. The only thing I did was I asked Joe Hughley and Tanis Kavalauskas to take more off of, and my son, Christopher, to take more off of Joe's plate, Frank's plate, so he could spend all day scheduling. So it's been a different narrative every day up until about, a week ago, when we felt pretty good about it. There was a lot of negotiation behind the scenes. There was a lot of movement with contracts existing and getting new ones. It was a full-time job to get it done. And it was only 7 games. You'd think that, wow, we get 7 games, but there was a lot of competition out there, because once some of those bubbles started to pop, Everybody's wanting to have an MTE, right? And so everybody's looking for teams. And so we were already pretty far ahead of that because we weren't going to a bubble. And so all that credit goes to Frank, and he's incredible. And he also drives a hard bargain. He's a tough negotiator. And so basically, it was just one of those deals where every day, at the end of the day, he'd come in here and update me on what was going on. He'd get my feedback. We'd put it up on the board, look at it, see how it fit, and then go to the next day. And then, John Curry and Lindsey Babcock and Randy Cass Stevens, those guys all were instrumental in helping, put this thing together.
What are some of the top goals for your team with that set of non-conference games, Steve?
Win. I mean, we want to win. And I think also we want to get better, every game. And, and it's all process, right? It's, each game you want to build on and try to play better. And we're going to be looking at all kinds of different combinations. I'm not one of those guys that plays 5 people. I will go as deep as we got to go to win, and I'll give you an example. I think Blake Buchanan's played pretty well, as a walk-on. If you think I'm afraid to play him, I'm not. And I was in a situation at Texas A&M. The first year and second year, we played Chris Walker at the 4. He was a powerless power forward. And, he was a starter and he was a walk-on, so, I mean, I don't care who you are, I want to win. We want to win. Our fans want to win. So we're going to play the guys that can give us the best chance to do that. And so, Les, I think that's the number one thing. Plus, I think growing as a team and, and then finding yourself, us being able to figure out what works and what doesn't work so good for these guys. And you can't always figure that out in practice. You got to go against other people. And that's why, it's a little bit nerve wracking, especially in your first year when you don't have an exhibition and you don't have a scrimmage. You don't really know what you're going to get until the lights go on, and so, we're trying to put them through the paces the best we can to be ready for that. But, each game, I think, just getting better and better. So when we get going into the ACC, we have some momentum and some confidence. I think momentum and confidence are important too when you play in a league like the league that we play in.
Coach, defensively, how are you happy with the progression that the team is making?
At times, it seems like a lot of times we go 2 steps forward and a step back, and a lot of it depends on what we're emphasizing that day. I spent some time last week trying to get offensive execution good, and, the ball moving, and all of a sudden now I ain't guarding anybody, or is it because we're better offensively? Are we because we shoot the 3 so well, does that mean we can't guard the 3? That's my life, right? That's the schizophrenic life of a coach. When you go home at night, you're like, okay, well, golly, we're better on offense, but oh man, we stink on defense. So does that mean we're any good on offense? But yeah, I think they're starting to the things that I said earlier about what they need to improve on, they need to improve on. But we have some moments in practice where I'm like, that's what it needs to look like. And then I stop practicing. Guys, that's what it has to look like every possession, every time to give us a chance to win. Not just 1 out of 5. Every time. And it starts in defensive transition. We got to get everybody back. We got to get the ball stopped. And then we got to do this. And we got to fly around and we got to make, multiple efforts. It's not going to just be 1-2 passes and they're going to shoot it. Okay. If we're really good at what we're doing, we're going to make them move the ball. And then we got to play our man before the catch and make them miss and then go rebound it. There's a lot of things, and so they're getting there. There's moments in practice. I'm like, okay, here we go. We got it. And then there's days I'm like, whoo, back to the drawing board, and then I take the blame for that. I don't ever blame them. I blame me. It's my job to get it right. for that to help them get it right. And so we're working on it. It's something that's it takes time. You know, some of the best defensive teams I've ever coached and been assistant on, it just took time. It's not it evolves as the season goes along, until you finally get guys coming back. You know, and you've been here a few years, and that's what they expect. It just takes a little time.
If memory serves, when we last spoke to you, the record in practice was listed at 4-2, and then I believe that the team kind of indicated that they didn't win that day either. So I think it fell to 4-3.
Yeah.
What's the record now?
Oh, that was a losing week. Last week was pretty solid. I thought we had a good week. I thought we pretty much won every practice last week, and maybe some of it too is I slowed it down a little bit, and I really truthfully took push and play away from them. And you said, what does that mean? Well, push and play is like getting a defensive rebound and pushing and playing fast and trying to score. I'll give you an example. 2 Saturdays ago, we had 39 turnovers in a practice. The next Saturday, when I took it away, we had 13. You know, so that's improvement. So they won that week. And so part of the blame is on me for maybe trying to play a way that I like to play that maybe doesn't work as well for these guys. And there's no disrespect. It's just we got to find better ways to play. And I thought that really helped us, taking that away and running quicks and running sets and running breakdown offense instead of just, you know, pushing and playing. And so I thought last week was a win. I think we had, we practiced Monday, lost Tuesday. Well, who won on Tuesday? Do we know yet? We didn't practice, so trying to figure out who won on Tuesday. Something else. I think that was the election. Yesterday was a win, and late. I like that. You know, I think practice was kind of you know, usually practice after a day off. It's not always, in my experience, the greatest because they're just, I don't know, they've been in bed all, you know, who knows what they've been doing. You know, they're just not right there. But I thought yesterday, as practice went along, it picked up and it got more and more intense and more competitive. And I like to see that. And so I gave them a win yesterday. And they're in a little bit different grind right now, Les. We're going to practice 4 days in a row, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which we haven't done, you know. And so I'm anxious to see how they come back today. I'll probably wind it down a little bit tomorrow, probably do more, you know, play call review type stuff, 5-on-0. And then Saturday, we're going to crank it up and see what we got. And so they're doing good. They're trying to bounce back. When I tell them a loss, they take it personal. I really think they do. I mean, you can ask them, but I think they don't like to hear that. Like, today was a loss, you know. I think they take that personal. And that's when you know you're starting to get something going when that happens.
So you haven't kicked him out of a practice since that Tuesday a couple weeks ago?
Oh, I've said it probably 3 or 4 times. Guys, I got nothing to do. We can come back. And then I think it just kind of, you know, Musis is usually the one who's like, no. All right, you know, let's go. You know, I think sometimes the threat of that, I was probably like that as a kid. I can remember my mom would say a lot of times, wait till your dad gets home. I'm like, can't have that. So it's kind of like that in a way, you know, like, okay, guys, we can come back. And no, I haven't. Now, I tell you what I have done before. Sometimes I've gone through practice 20, 30 minutes and started over. You know, all right, we'll start over now. You know, we'll get it right. And usually by then they do it, or then it's out. You know, but no, I haven't had to do that. I haven't.
With Odie out right now, and I know Tariq probably isn't yet 100%. What are you kind of doing in the middle there right now? I guess just playing really small.
Oh yeah, playing Ish at the 5. Now, here's what we can do. We can play Ish at the 5 offensively, let him guard the 4, or we can play Zay at the 5 offensively and let him guard the 4. And we just flip-flop them. And then throw Tariq in there, too. And then because he could play. I mean, he's just not long stretches. I'm not sure Emmanuel's quite ready. He's a freshman. It's hard for freshmen. When I just told you all the things we do defensively and all the things that we do, I've said we put in on offense, you can imagine for a freshman, his head's kind of going, you know, and I'll need, but I'm the type of person, coach, too, that I will simplify it at some point. If I feel like he's ready to go, then, we can have a package for him, to play that you don't have to remember everything, you're not, but he's just not quite there yet. So yeah. And now, the offense has changed a lot with, there's pluses and minuses, right? I mean, defensively, yeah, we're small, and we'll have to play harder and rebound it with a gang rebound. But offensively now, there's some that opens up some different things you can do when you have 5 guys on the floor that can spray the 3 like they can. It makes you pretty hard to guard.
Steve, you mentioned the 60 to 70 like play variations for the offense. I wonder how's Jacoby kind of doing with that, because he was kind of that guy that was circled as the next point guard.
That really good competition between him and Davian. I think they complement each other. I think I can play them together. I've also played Ian DeBose some at the point. I would say he's probably third option there. But I think Jacoby's gotten better and better and better each week. Yesterday he was 5 out of 10 from the field. He had 7 assists and 1 turnover. Now, if he can average 11, 15 points a game and 7 assists and 1 turnover, he's going to be the type of player that he wants to be, and we all want him to be. So he's doing good. He's smart. He picks things up quickly. I think for him, it's been more of just getting used to the way that we want to defend, the physicality of it, and playing at the pace that I want to play out without making mistakes. But he's really gotten. I think he's improved each and every week. He's got great size for that position. He's physical with the ball in his hands. One of the things we're working with him on is coming off the ball a little bit quicker on his decision making. Sometimes he tends to over dribble a little too much, and we got guys open, spray it, share it. And he did great on that yesterday. He was awesome. And that's why he had a 7 assists and 1 turnover. And so him and Davian have been good competition, and I think we can also play them together. So I've been very pleased with Jacoby.
Is there a formula or secret to get guys to consistently buy in on the defensive end, or is it kind of just a repetition thing?
That's called the bench. That I think Bobby Knight said this a long time ago. When you sit down on the bench, it sends a signal to your brain that I better do something different. I think it just takes time, and I think they have to understand that when they do understand that how important it is to me and how that relates to their playing time, then I think they figure it out. They're smart. These are smart kids. I mean, and they want to do well. And so I think that, they understand the importance of it. It's just, it's not natural to want to be a great defender. There's very few of those guys out there. Everybody wants to play offense, and I get it. And it's hard. It's hard to do, and it's taxing, and it wears, and it's physical, and it's toughness, and it's just not a natural thing. I don't think for a lot of guys, coming in the door, that's what they really want to be. But I tell this to my guys all the time, and I absolutely 100% believe this. Everybody wants, at some point, everybody kind of wants to play in the NBA. I get it, right? but it's not about how you score the ball. It's who you can guard. I mean, show me. There's probably how many NBA guys can't score? I mean, it's really not that. It's who they can defend is how you get on the court. And so, I remember I used to tell Scotty Hobson this all the time at Tennessee. I'd be like, Scotty, how do you think you're an NBA player? Yeah, coach. Well, all right, we got to guard LeBron and Kobe at your position. So if you can guard them, then maybe you are, And so I think selling them on that too, the fact that, life after, Wake Forest or whatever that is, as far as basketball is concerned, is really going to be who you can defend. And I think they understand that, but getting it all on the same page and, it takes time and it takes a commitment. And we're getting there.
Any final questions for Coach? All right. Sounds good. Thank
All
you,
right,
Coach.
guys.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there. Do we have a winner yet here in North Carolina?